Thank you for supporting our channel. Thank you for supporting Wizan. Please like, subscribe, comment and hit the notification bell for any future videos.
Me and Paul here today again with Andy Scott from London Taxi PR. Andy Scott is the name of the guy who done that Sillet Bang advert, isn't it? Isn't it? Hi, I'm Andy Scott. This is Sillet Bang.
Yeah. That's good PR for the trade, actually.
What, Sillet Bang?
Yeah.
You use it, do you? I don't know about household cleaners.
Clean up the trade a bit.
Me and Paul here today with Andy Scott from London Taxi PR. Andy, welcome to the Wizan podcast.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit really about London Taxi PR?
Sure. Well, London Taxi PR was set up by a couple of taxi drivers, Gary Long and Lee Shepherd, I think back in 2016, as far as I recall, obviously before I come on board, but set up with regards to provide promotion, advertising through targeted media campaigns to promote the licensed London taxi profession. Mm-hmm. We've been doing that quite successfully since then through media advertising, advertorials in publications, magazines, newspapers. We've got our thriving social media account. We've done the Super Sides, which ran obviously during COVID, again quite successsually.
What was on the Super Sides? Sorry,
the Super Sides promoted the safety of using London taxis. So they were bright yellow, mm-hmm. and they had the impression, the artist's outline of the passenger in the back seat, and gave the safety distance with the red arrows mm-hmm. on either side of the cab, telling about the distance between the driver and the passenger. And you can still see them around today. Yeah. We're 2 years on. Obviously, COVID is still around.
So this was a COVID-related safety issue?
Yeah, so because obviously at the time, people were quite rightly wary about using any form of public transport. Mm-hmm. And what we wanted to get across, because obviously the profession at the time, obviously a lot of drivers were off work for one reason or another, be it through illness or with regards to not wanting to come into town or to work. We'd been in lockdown, and it was during that time that we decided we wanted to do something positively to inform the travelling public that basically the licensed London taxi was one of the safest forms of public transportation to get people door to door to their destination, that it was a contactless form of public transport, so they didn't have to provide cash if they didn't want to. That reminding people that basically all London taxis accept any major credit cards, but also that there was the fixed partition, which is obviously part of the manufacturing process of producing a London taxi, and has been throughout the years. And we wanted to get that across to the travelling public, that obviously people were living within their family bubble. Some of them were still coming into work through necessity, having to come into the office, or wanting to come into town to visit relatives or go, to see people and whatever. That we wanted to project this message, and we felt the best way of doing it was on travelling on cabs going around the capital, and it spread like wildfire, which was amazing. The response was fantastic. I mean, we had cabs liveried up in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham. Basically all the major cities took it on board, as well as London.
Right.
From London it just blossomed, which was great. And that was the power of social media positively used to promote the profession during the pandemic. So we had companies coming on board to us to say, look, how do we get this design? We were saying to them, we've got the artwork, we'll send it out. If you want to put your logo on it as well, make a donation, etc. We're quite happy for you to do that. And they did. And that was great. That was really well received. And like I say, you can still see some cabs going around with that livery to this day. Yeah. And we're still living with the pandemic. It's still prevalent. We've just done. I've just signed off an advertorial for Christmas, which is going to come out in the Standard newspaper at the end of November. And with the rise of COVID infection at the moment, which for whatever reason we're not seeing on the mainstream media, against the safety aspect of using a licensed London taxi, I still feel is extremely relevant for whatever reason with regards to you going into wherever you're going to socialise or meet friends, family, shop, go to work. That message is still relevant to this day and will remain so. And we've just tweaked it to meet with the current conditions of the current climate, you know.
Well, my first thoughts on this, I don't know what you told drivers to do, Paul, but it seems to me that the driver was well protected, but the passengers they're getting in and out swapping. So if I'm getting in with a virus and leaving it behind, the next person in is taking it with them, isn't it? So is the driver encouraged to clean the cab every passenger?
What we were explaining with regards to the message was that the cab was being sanitised before and after every journey.
Right. Okay.
That was the message that we were
yes.
that we were conveying and are still conveying within the messages that we're putting out.
Yeah.
So yes, that was one of the forerunners of the messaging that we were putting out. We wanted to convey as much information as possible in a short stream as possible to get it out quite sensibly but quite simply, basically to explain the various elements as to why the travelling public should use a licensed London taxi.
Yeah.
And hopefully that message has got across.
Yeah. Do you get your drivers to clean the cab afterwards every time?
Oh, that's a good question. Do cab drivers keep their cabs clean? I mean, in the pandemic, we had a massive reduction in numbers.
Yep.
And the ones that were working, we talked about this the other night. We were talking about pandemic, what we did throughout the pandemic. But the ones that were working were really, really good with keeping their cab sanitised. And there was loads of different methods of how to keep it clean. But because the cab's purpose-built, it's easier to clean. You know, and we blocked up the gaps in between the partition and the roof on all our taxis and kept them going. We used our taxis for the NHS. Lots of contracts we did, lots of different things we did to help throughout COVID. But I'd like to think that's behind us now. I'd like to think we can go forward. And
I don't know, it could become standard practice, couldn't it?
For me, my opinion of COVID-19 is that it's going to be with us forever. It's never going to go away.
Yes.
Right, but we've got to just live with it in the background now and go forward. And
we could still have better hygienic behaviour,
yeah,
couldn't we?
we could, and we should, and we will. But I just think that now we just need to concentrate on building our trade back to what it was.
Yes.
And
but then we
that's a
can pick
long
up
road.
on the selling points, which is basically the driver is fairly safe.
Yeah.
The passengers getting in are just one at a time. And if there is a disinfection thing going on after each passenger, you do have some sort of
That's not realistic.
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna be honest. There's no way a driver's in the way we're working at the moment, where it's so busy. There's no way a driver's going to clean his cab out the back.
Okay, let's say that's not
every
going to
job.
happen. If they did clean their cab,
Every day,
what
they
you
should.
recommending? What are you recommending to use?
Well, I just think just whatever they need to use. Really, you just clean their cab every day.
One of these little spray of bleach things.
I've seen cabs recently that leave a lot to be desired, and they're even going up to NSL. Not clean, and that's not good for us. Carrying the general public, keep your cabs clean. It's not hard, but have a bit of pride in your job.
Yeah. So, going back to you, Andy, has it been an uphill struggle trying to convince the taxi trade that you are something that they require and are necessary?
Very much so. It still is to this day. It's an ongoing battle, which I'm determined to keep fighting to get the message out there as much as possible, be it to drivers and businesses. Hence why I've been out today, pounding the streets from early this morning, visiting the shelters, dropping off our goodies, dropping off posters, trying to get the message out, show that we're proactive, show that we're out there, show that we care, show that we're doing something by putting this advertorial out. I'd like to be sitting here saying to you, I've got a 6-month media campaign planned where I'm going to be physically putting out advertorials or messages every month for the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. And then I got further planned.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I have we, London Taxi PR, represent the London taxi profession in terms of positive promotion campaigns and advertising, as I said at the beginning. I'd like to have an infinite budget to be able to promote the profession as best as I can within that. I can't. I have to manage as cutely as possible with regards to what we've got coming in and what we've got going out. Hence why we've been doing several things with regards to, we've been doing some match day sponsorship out with grassroots football in Essex. Like I say, I've got this advertorial campaign going forward at the end of November. But I've had to sit down, or I have to sit down with salespeople from the media, and I get messages coming every single week with regards to the offers that they have that I could take up, but I haven't got the money. I have to sit down with them, and I literally have to get the thumb screws on. I have to say to these guys, look, this is what I've got. This is what I can pay you now. This is what I can pay you then, but I want that space. You want to fill it. I want to take it.
But you ain't got
I've got something to do. Can we work together? Fortunately, through the best of my ability, I've developed good relationships with one of the media companies whereby they come back to me. They know exactly what we like to do and what features we like to fit within. And having the money, they know their finance people are as good as gold, thankfully, and they appreciate and they get how we are financed. That's the main thing. You know, we are financed by donations and subscriptions from the drivers and from businesses within the profession. Would I like more? Of course I would. Yes. I can't understand for the life of me why, when I go out and speak to not so much drivers, yes, drivers to a certain extent, but businesses more so, what they don't get. What do they not get about what we do? Why, if you're a business that is connected with the profession, would you not support a company, a business that positively promotes the profession, i.e. the profession that you're connected with and rely upon for your business to continue to thrive, right? To me, that makes common sense. Yeah, it's joined up thinking. Every driver is a self-employed business person. Therefore, they are a self-employed individual. If you're running a business as a self-employed person outside of the profession, what are you going to do? You're going to want to promote your business as much and as wide and as far as possible. We do that for you. Yep. So self-employed driver, we promote your business, i.e. the profession.
Yep.
For £5, for £10, for £15, for £20 a month. If you want to make a one-off donation, fine. Absolutely fine. No problem with that. Same for a business. £50 a month subscription, right? For some of the garages, for some of the businesses that are connected with it, be they insurance or be they tax, accountants, you know, this kind of thing, however they're connected with the profession, £50 a month. That's not a lot of money. You can make, you can make a one-off donation to us. Happy days. Lovely. Because I know I've got something coming in. That's great. Lovely. I'll accept that. I understand. No, we can't commit at this stage. Yes, we'll think about it. Can we have a discussion to talk about it, to talk how we can work together? Or no, don't bother us again. I understand that. Don't ignore me, because that's what I get from some people. Or when I go out to companies, as I have done, and I see some message come back, and I'm sort of left scratching my head, because they'll come back and they'll say, well, we don't really see how we'll benefit from this. Really? Okay. Then I see a message that they put out, and lo and behold, they've acquired a dozen LEVC taxis. And I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. You've just said to me, you can't see how you'll benefit, but you've taken on 70 grand's worth of, 12 times 70 grand's worth as they were then of LEVC taxis, which you wish to sell or rent or whatever you're going to do with. And we can work together to coexist, to promote, because you want drivers to take on those taxis. Yeah, we've been promoting the knowledge left, right and centre. That's been one of our most successful campaigns to date. The last one we did, 31 digital screens across central London. The hits were amazing, phenomenal. And I've got more stuff planned with regards to that. We want more bodies in. When I looked at the figures that Danny put out literally the other day with regards to the amount of...
Sorry, who's Danny?
From LCDC.
Okay.
Yep, Sammy Scarf on Twitter. Anyway, he put those figures out.
Oh, I know who you mean now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and it was quite frightening. You looked at it because 2 new licences issued, 18,754 taxi driver licences. Then you look at PHV, 83,401, 577 new PHV licences. That's shocking.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's scary, and it tells you where the focus is. Now, if we want, and I like to think, let's say the London taxi profession is now running through me. I'd love to see you guys full of bodies. Yeah,
So we all would, yeah.
Yeah, of course. We want to promote the profession as a future potential career for people who want to have their own business, want to have the hours, the flexibility to suit them. And we want to do that. The price of a cab has gone up. I saw some figure the other day. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's gone up to 90 grand.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, no, we had that yesterday, didn't we?
That's what
Yeah.
I saw.
No,
Like I say,
no.
correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
still didn't
but-
understand it, Paul. The 90,000 pin we talked about. John.
So we'll go around this.
Okay, so
again.
sorry. Can we just come just let me finish on this bit.
Yeah.
Just really, we want to see people coming into the profession as much as possible. We want to see the knowledge schools having significant numbers. I've been in touch with TfL with regards to the fees that students are having to fork out just to take on the knowledge, and that's quite frightening. It's in excess of £1,000.
Yeah.
So I've been approaching businesses and individuals with regards to an idea as to how we can assist and work together. And again, I'd like to see support for that, whereby we can, let's say, for want of a better word, set up some form of grant scheme whereby the students are initially supported, so they know.
Yeah.
At least some of them, let's say, and hopefully more if we get the interest there, that first £1,000 is taken care of, because you've then got the cost of a moped, whether you hire it or you buy it, etc., and then obviously ongoing commitment with regards to financial.
You do know these fees previously were taken care of by driver funding. So the drivers used to pay through their license fee, were funding the functioning of the testing.
Right.
So these fees came in later and had to have, I think they needed a mandate from Parliament to change certain rules because you weren't allowed to charge anything.
Right.
So these fees have gradually crept in, I think, because TfL is a private company.
Right.
And as shareholders, so investors.
But it is, given the current economic climate and all what we're going through with regards to, things going up, costs going up, I've tried to approach TfL to look at the initial figures and see if there's any way that there can be a reduction. As yet, there's been no response with regards to that. I was quite surprised because one of the things that we've looked at and that we want to do with regards to further promotion and advertising of the knowledge is to have a QR code rather than the long sort of website address as we did with regards to the billboard advertising and the other advertising promotion that we did with regards to it. Have a QR code. So I went to TfL and I said, "Is there a QR code that you've got that we could use?" No. If you want to do one yourself, then feel free. I was like, okay, all right. So I've done one.
Yeah.
And we've now got one set up. So on the next set of advertising that goes up, there will be a QR code. So if anyone's interested with regards to any, like the next campaign that we do with regards to knowledge, be it seat tips or, the billboard advertising or whatever, they'll be able to put their phone up and it would take them straight through. I would have thought, given this day and age with modern technology, that would have been a given for TfL, but there you go.
Yeah.
But that's something, like I say, it's these ideas, but it's having the money to be able to do this. And I want the numbers of subscribers that we have, be it drivers, businesses or private individuals, to think about the longevity of the profession. And, if they don't support us, give me a good reason why not.
Okay, can I ask a few questions?
You can do.
So, you've got quite a few court cases that drivers have been asked to fund over the since I've been a driver, there's been several court cases where drivers have been asked to fund, okay? They've gone into that in a big way. So you're asking drivers to put into PR, which for me sounds more sensible, but they've chose to put into
Court
UTAG.
cases. Yeah.
And their unions.
Yeah.
So we're also asking them to pay into a PR fund. So the cab's expensive, as we all know. Some say 94,000. I'm not saying it's 94,000 because it's not. So what I'm asking is, how do you expect drivers to keep paying and paying and paying, and they don't see a benefit? What you're saying is logical, i.e., we need to advertise our trade, but then you got before 2016. How did we advertise our trade? What were we doing to promote our trade before 2016?
I got the idea that this was mainly a way of advertising the taxi trade against its competitors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's the taxi orientation. So the biggest beneficiary is going to be the drivers. So the biggest contributor should be the drivers.
Correct.
But us drivers tend to think, well, it might work, it might not work. But if there's 1,000 drivers paying in, then you've got 17,000 not paying in.
Well, absolutely, and they're paying for the others.
Yes.
So what I'm saying
And
is
then you get the ump.
They're paying into court cases. They're waiting for things to happen, and they're promised that we might win this and we might win that. And a lot of them see that as better PR because we're fighting for roads and we're fighting for this and we're fighting against Uber, we're fighting against Free Now, we're fighting, all these things, which Trevor was touched on, and he's right about the reasons why we fight them, but they're the popular ones.
So why isn't taxi PR encapsulated within one of the LTDA or UCG and
that's the question.
Part of that unit? Why are we three separate units?
Yeah, why are we all separate all the time?
That's for you, Andy, that one.
You tell me. I know Lee and Gary, when they set the thing up, approached both the two major orgs back then to say, is it possible that like £1 could come out of every member's subscription to be put into the pot of London Taxi PR? And I know that was kicked into touch.
Was there a reason given for that, or
I can't recall exactly what it was. I think it was a matter of whether it was logistics or not being able to get every member to commit or whatever. Listen, it was before my time, but listen, the LCDC do contribute, which is great. I don't think anything that UTAG has done has, let's say, affected us at all, and we support UTAG, we support UCG, all of those. listen, what they do is absolutely great work, and we've been working in tandem with regards to issues concerning the ranks. With regards to PHVs and commercial vehicles, parking on those.
If you had a budget to work with,
let's come to the LTDA, shall we? Because I've been to their. I doorstopped them when they had their AGM a couple of years back, and spoke with Steve Mack and said about what we do. You tell me why the biggest org that there is that represents the licensed London taxi profession doesn't chip in to London Taxi PR.
Don't they have their own advertising wing?
Sorry, for what we do, and we've won awards for what we've done, and this is not boosting our ego or whatever. I'm just saying that I don't get it, really. And let's say they come to me with a damn good reason as to why they don't. We don't even get advertising space in the magazine. We're not an enemy. We're out there fighting to promote the profession. That's what we do. I want to see that continue. Like I've said, I'd love to have an infinite pot. Our nearest and dearest rival has God knows what kind of
Who's your
budget.
nearest and dearest rival?
Well,
oh, Uber. Okay.
So it's like.
Do you see them as a rival still, though? I mean, look. Let me ask you a few things. Like, so, are you doing this on your own, Andy? Is this something you've solely run on your own? This agency, is it something that you're on your?
No.
There's more than one of you.
As I've said,
yeah.
London Taxi PR was set up by Lee Shepherd and Gary Long back in 2016. I was taken on in 2018 to add, obviously, the PR element to London Taxi PR with regards to doing the press releases, doing the media campaigns, planning them, coordinating them, dealing with the sales guys and, negotiating, for want of a better word, the best deals that we can. Being the public face as I am now, out and about on the streets, visiting the shelters, speaking with drivers on the ranks.
This is what I'm saying. Are you doing all this personally or all alone?
It's me.
Yeah.
As London Taxi PR with Lee above me.
Oh, I see. Right. So it's just yourself and Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've referred to us on social media as a very small team that often meets in CAFs.
Yeah.
Right. To quote an old Dexys song. Right. Now, we're not 20 people. We don't drive around in Ferraris. People might think, oh, God, where's all this money going from? It's going out in what we do. Mm-hmm. That's what we do.
It's not cheap.
No, it's not. You take a full-page advertisement in a national newspaper or the standard newspaper, or try and get a TV ad or whatever. I would love to do TV. But I haven't got the money. We haven't got the money. You can see Uber have done TV ads. I'd love to.
So Free Now have done TV as well, haven't they?
I would say TV's got to be a bad.
They've advertised the taxi
bad
trade
investment
on Free Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
would say YouTube's a better investment.
I'd say YouTube's a better investment.
I would. I think everything's coming there.
I would say the knowledge is a better investment.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, I don't watch TV, and TV seems to be a dying industry.
It is a bit, and it's probably a bit overpriced for what we want. And do our customers watch TV anymore? We don't really know.
I don't. I flick through and you've got adverts on everything. You switch it off.
Yeah.
I can't get to watch a program, so you go straight on your Netflix and your YouTube and you watch a program. So YouTube seems to have a grader, and Facebook, which I think might die as well.
Yeah, like I say, I try and use as many social media platforms as I can when I put stuff out to repeat it on the various media platforms that we have, so that some of the main groups that follow us, that are out there on different platforms, maybe not on one or the other, so that they're seeing the messages and know what we're up to, what we're doing, which is good. And through the grassroots football match day sponsorship that we've done out in Essex, we've had new sign-ups. Brilliant. That's tick that box. That's achieved. If I can get 2 or 3 people from seeing us who I know, what I've done is, what I've tried to find is grassroots football clubs that are based out the Essex way, because we've not done any advertising outside of that London-centric circle. And I know there are a lot of cabbies based Essex way and Kent way, which is Essex where I am. So I've found local clubs where there's a connection with the profession. And lo and behold, I've got new sign-ups. Yeah. Brilliant. So that little bit of pot of money that I've invested, for me, has paid off. I've ticked that box. You know, that's what I want to. That's what we want to achieve. You know, if we get more passengers in cabs responding to a positive advertisement that goes out, that ticks that box. If I do a sponsorship or whatever we do with regards to little, you know, regional advertising or whatever, if we get new sign-ups, brilliant. That ticks that box.
We don't need passengers at the moment, though, do we, Andy? That's one thing we don't struggle with. You know, we don't need passengers. We need drivers. That is,
well, that's,
you know, we need people to want to do the knowledge,
well,
and we need the knowledge to be more dynamic, so people want to do the knowledge, and we need people to invest in the knowledge.
Right.
That's the things we need. That's the things we really need.
Well, like I say, that has been our most successful campaign to date, and that's what we've been, you know, pushing as much as possible. And that's to take the knowledge promotion to the next stage is what I want to do. I've got plans for what I want to do. I've got commitment from various people with it supporting with regards to what we want to do to get it out there. Like I've said and intimated before, this sort of grant, if you like, scheme to help support the students, that's the next stage where I want businesses, private individuals to come in and assist as much as possible.
What are you thinking, like garages to fund?
Do you think that people will start the knowledge if they're given £1,000? I mean, I know for a fact that Addison Lee are offering £500 at the moment for new starters,
just to get on it,
just to sit in a car and crack.
You're
on.
going to give me the £1,000. I still don't have to complete the knowledge, do I?
Yeah.
So I'll take the £1,000, give it a go, and then
it's not it. The way we're coming at it is that there's an end benefit to the people that would put in. So let's say, for instance, an insurance company provides that money, right, for a student. So there's a commitment from that student to go with that insurance company once they come out.
If they come out.
So they'll sign on to the knowledge. They'll start their appearances, and one of the examiners that's quite tricky up there will give them a couple of Ds, and then he'll be off again. Yeah. He'll be off again. He'll have the money. He'll be off. So we've got to understand that. We've got to understand how the knowledge works before we start.
How would you choose, Paul? You're going to give the £1,000 to who would be the? How are you going to do that? By
well, again, that's another.
You've got to trust the school to do that.
No, I don't know. There used to be my girlfriend was an actress, and she applied to go to one of the famous acting colleges in France, in Paris. She had to write letters, and I forget the technical name for it. Bursaries, isn't it? Bursaries.
Bursary,
she had to apply to all these companies that would give and explain that she's a homeless, she's single, her mother died, and you have to put a hard luck story to be the one that gets to the funding.
Yeah, but like I say, this is just at a brainwave stage. Yep, this is just something that we're toying with, we're putting out there to see what the feedback is, and obviously we'll take everything on board, but this is something that we've thought of to try and assist as much as possible if we can do something and get people on board to provide some financial assistance, but at the end of the day get something back in return
Yeah.
by a commitment,
Well, what
however that evolves.
Yes.
But listen, if people in the meantime want to support further campaigns with regards to promotion of the knowledge, be it the next billboard advertisement that we do, if we do super sides, if we do seat tips or whatever it is, fantastic. You know, hopefully that will reach wider audiences again, and hopefully people will consider that as consider the profession as a potential career. That, you know, at the end of the day, the businesses that are connected with the profession surely must want new people coming into the profession for them to continue to exist and do what they do.
But you have to look at why we ended up in the position that we're in anyway. And prior to that, there was no advertising other than word of mouth. We love the job. You tell a person to do it, and there's a knock-on effect of who's going to do it. And the decline is really solely to do with how simple it was to become a PHV. That's the whole reason, and the fact that TfL haven't accommodated or combated it like a business. So in a sense, what we should be doing is maybe lobbying not for £1,000 for each student, because that gets a very grey area, and we used to be involved with funding of students, and there used to be many students that would take the funding and never do the knowledge, but more so to be telling TfL to let the fee be passed on to drivers like it was, and go back to those days, so that there's no fee for doing the knowledge. Anybody can sign on, and the only loss they will have will be their own input and time that they decided to put in, or they can come off. So it really, but the drivers who are not prepared to pay for the advertising, and the ones that are also not prepared to pay their UCG membership, their UTAG fees, or a membership to LTDA or LCDC, I don't know how many that would come to as off the top of my head figure. Those drivers, they are not going to want to either give their extra license fee money to funding what would be people trying to start the knowledge. But as it stands, the decline has now pretty much reached rock bottom. There is very, very little leeway left for how far down we can go knowledge-wise. And I don't think we're seeing a great deal being done in the right direction to pick it up. But the ideas, I think, for me, are fairly simple.
For me, good PR is building your business. And I don't think we're seeing all the billboards full anymore.
I don't think billboards
I drive
sell to
around
me.
London. I don't see them with anything much on them anymore. What I see is dynamic marketing is all online. It's
Yes.
YouTube. So every time you watch a YouTube video, it could be anything. It could be about that cup. Every 10 minutes, it cuts and there's an advert.
Yes.
You know, and I don't know how expensive
if it aims
that
at
is.
you, if it's something psychologically that hits you, yes.
Psychologically it hits you.
So we're sitting there watching YouTube, as me and you, as we're minicab drivers or some other job
Yeah.
we've got, and we get hit by this advert 3 times. You start to think, maybe it's a little bit geared towards me, the thing, doing the knowledge or whatever it is that you might want to do. But the way, Andy, the way that people do the knowledge is mostly through the fact that they've had encouragement from other people. It generally, for me, is not going to be because they saw a billboard or a flip down seat. It's got to be because their friend has said to them, you should do it, and eventually the penny drops, the right time, the right place, and they do it.
That's what we've seen in the past, right? So
Yes.
going forward, are we going to get that same kind of recommendation? You know, I think that we are, because we're busy at the moment.
Yeah. Why so many private hire are actually doing the knowledge? They are doing it based on their friends who've gone forward that are also private hire, who have an idea of the comparison between the two, that value the fact that it was worth coming in this direction.
Yeah, the status as well. I mean, you're respected a lot more by driving the taxi than you are driving the PHV.
Yeah.
You get a lot more respect out there. You get to use the bus lanes. You get to use the ranks. And people know where taxis are going to be. The problem we've got now is that when you come out of Marylebone Station or King's Cross or Euston, there's times when you can't get a taxi anymore. That's our problem right now.
Right, because we're not feeding the demand.
It's visibility. So when you say to me about that fleet's not putting in, he's gone and bought 20 cabs, I'm actually pleased that he's gone and bought 20 cabs, because we've got a bit more visibility out there. We've got new cabs. The ones that are coming off the road are being replaced. So I haven't got a problem with fleets expanding. I've got any of my competitors expanding. What I think fleets should consider doing is investing in the knowledge, as well as Andy. You know, not just in one thing. I think that fleets should look at where the decline is on the knowledge, what TfL have done to the knowledge, sadly, or not done, and look at us and look at other knowledge opportunities and say, look, what can we do to help you guys? You know, there could be a fund for the knowledge. You know, I believe, you know, we're in this small unit, we can expand because numbers are starting to come through, and Blue Books are starting to sell again, which is great news. Good. So, you know, that is important in my opinion.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, like I say, the two work in tandem for me with regards to the promotion of the knowledge. You know, I think there are different ways of doing the advertising and promotion, and we look at all ways. You know, we've done when we did the Supersides for the COVID campaign, we did that on video as well. And who's to say we won't look at doing something with regards to the knowledge and have a video that we put out on Facebook, on Instagram or whatever. I say, you know, we're a two-man team, we're small. Any money that we have to fork out and, you know, to get people in to do stuff for us, we have to manage tightly. And I'm willing to take on board any ideas with regards to promotion and whatever, as long as you know it has an end goal and it achieves the aim that we set out to do. You know, I'd love to be in communication with as many businesses as possible for them to say, look, we've got this idea about assisting you guys, you know, can we work together or whatever? Great, you know, happy days. You know, I'm basically what I'm trying to do to be the public face of London Taxi PR is let people know, as many drivers know, as many businesses know, that we are here, that we exist, because there are still people that don't know about us, don't know what we do for one reason or another.
Have you made an advert for yourselves that you can post on YouTube that we can link to anything, so we can run at the beginning or end of videos?
We haven't to explain, I suppose, about what we do, and that's something we can certainly look at. You know, we've got our website, which I'm trying to you know, update as much as possible with regards to the campaigns that we do. I've thought about putting a blog out when I'm out and about, as I have been today. I try and put as many social media messages to let drivers know that I am visiting, you know, the shelters and where I am or what I'm doing and where I've been and where I'm going to be, etc. So if they need receipt pads or lanyards or window stickers or whatever, fine, you know. And I get drivers shouting out to me as I'm walking by.
What sort of stuff do they shout out, Andy?
I've had positive encounters. Let's say I've had nothing abusive yet. But listen, that's great, because if I get someone saying, you know, you're doing a great job, great. That's a pat on the back for us. You know, that's a pat on the. It's not for me. That's for London Taxi PR. You know.
Are you spreading your resources too much? I mean, maybe focusing on either one aspect or the other, the drivers or the knowledge or TfL or yourselves. It's a lot to go across.
There is, but
it seems like whatever you do in this trade, you don't get a lot of gratification from drivers. We all look for that, but it sometimes it doesn't come, and you've just got to do your job and don't think, oh, no one cares. But
no,
actually, people really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I like to think as we've continued on and as I've been out and about, I've seen things where I've interacted with a business, let's say with regards to a hotel. It was Claridge's, where there was an issue with the rank. There was private hire vehicles that were parking on the rank. But then through engaging with the management there, and through sitting down and talking with them, it was found that there was a major gap within a particular time slot, where they couldn't get any cabs. So I reached out to a company involved with the profession and said, is there any way we can look at assisting these guys? And there was. And that's been found and that's been sorted.
Isn't that more of a trade issue?
That's what I was going to say. Why would you be doing that?
Well,
and you did it. Now, I do appreciate it.
It evolved through me having engagement and conversation with a business who had an issue with the profession that they wanted to resolve.